Hey guys, welcome to Young Money Talk. It's Joseph. Uh, I want to call this a mind body video, but it is and it's not. And the reason why is because we live in a mind body experience. Everything is a mind body experience. We live on earth and we have a body. Um, but I want to make this clear. This one's not only for my audience who is healing from psychosomatic issues or mind body experiences. This is for everyone because everybody experiences this on a small level or a big level. And the topic is there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to run. This is your body. This is your life. And what I mean by everybody experiences this is that we've all experienced trying to run away from pain, emotional pain or physical pain. And there are different levels of like how the extremes some of us are willing to go to run away from emotional or physical pain. On the extreme level, it's drugs or hardcore drugs, I should say. On a little bit lower level, it's alcohol and weed and some of the other, I guess you would say, less intense drugs. And then on an even smaller level, then you have like food and sex. And actually, a lot of these things are kind of just as destructive as one another, depending on how things play out. But we do a lot of things to run away from our pain. And the reality is that none of this actually takes care of the pain at all. It actually perpetuates it and keeps it going. When we keep running, we're never actually turning around and facing the issue. And one thing I'm learning in my journey is that the mind will go to great lengths to try and cover up, repress, suppress, and get away from pain or painful experiences. The existence of defense mechanisms in our psychology is pure proof that there is this drive, an innate drive. Like you don't have a choice. This is how the brain operates. There's an innate drive to escape and get away from pain. And that's a good thing. That's survival, Usually in nature, pain means you're in danger and you need to flee, fight, or freeze in a situation. Um, and that's pain. That's pain. And pain usually means there's danger. So, of course, the mind is going to want to get away from pain. Where there's pain, there's danger, according to the mind. And where there's danger, there's usually pain. It's vice versa. And so, there's defense mechanisms, psychological defense mechanisms, but external defense mechanisms exist as well, um, to try and escape, cover up, numb, or run away from emotional or physical pain. And so, if you're watching this, ask yourself, what have I been using? What have I been using to cope with pain, to run away from pain, to cover up, to flee from, pretend like it doesn't exist? Is it food? Is it sex, alcohol, video games? It's usually some sort of stimulation of some sort, and it has to be intense. And so that's why with food, it's like nobody copes with their pain by going and eating like chicken and broccoli or or steak and vegetables. Usually you go eat like the most palatable foods out there. Ice cream. It's a stereotype. Girls right after the breakup, they eat the pints of ice cream. Sex is very stimulating. Alcohol. Things that really just kind of overpower your nervous system for a moment. And then it goes away and the pain comes back. And so, like I said, there are temporary solutions. Now, do all of these things have their place and can they be healthy in moderation? I would say, yeah. I'm not an extremist. I mean, besides the really extreme drugs, the ones you want to stay away from, the narcotics, and yeah, and of course you don't want to get addicted to any of these things. But in moderation, alcohol can be a good stress reliever. Um, and food. It's nice to have a nice meal or a really delicious dessert, but with the understanding that it's not solving your problems, and you can't just keep going back to it over and over because it doesn't solve anything. And that's the thing about these defense mechanisms, is that they don't really solve anything. The psychological defense mechanisms don't solve anything. And actually, speaking solely just on the psychological defense mechanisms, they actually end up creating a lot of chaos in people's external lives. Um, and sometimes even bringing upon the very things that someone fears, and their mind is trying to divert them from. The behavior sometimes even brings on what they're fearing, which is crazy. Um, and if you're watching this and you're into stuff like law of attraction or you're spiritual of some sort, you've probably heard of this concept that what you attract what you fear. Um, so these defense mechanisms, they don't solve anything, and the solution of this is coming back to your body. And instead of trying to run away from the pain, run away from your body, I think this is why people even get into the harder drugs. It's like they just want to be numb. They just want to not be in their body for a moment because being in their body is so painful. But that's where the transformation is. The transformation is in your body. It's nowhere else. It's nowhere external. There's no pill. There's no drug. There's nothing in the physical world that's going to take all pain away from you. It just doesn't exist. And I think it's easy to not remember that this is an inside job, not an outside job. And religion, I think, has also played a part in this because, especially if you're spiritual and if you're somebody who has like TMS or psychosomatic issues, that being spiritual or religious is actually one of the, it's common for people with TMS and psychosomatic manifestations. And a lot of religious leaders are out here teaching that your flesh or your body is evil, it's bad, you need to leave it. The true spirituality is when you're not, and you're outside of your body, outside of your flesh, and depending on what religion you're in, sometimes people even try and purposely leave their body and have outer body experiences and stuff like that. And all that's teaching people is that transformation is outside of the body, and it's not. It's in the body. It's in the body. Transformation is here. Because we're here, we're right now. You live in, no matter what you do, what spiritual experience you have while you're on this earth, you're always going to have to come back to your body. So it may be pure bliss, whatever experience you have or may have had. But you're always going to come back to your body, and you're always going to have to deal with this flesh. And so what are you going to do? Are you going to abandon it, or are you going to befriend it? Are you going to wage war against your body and run away from it and keep harming it with drugs, alcohol, sex, all these defense mechanisms that are not helping you, psychological defense mechanisms, workaholism, and there's so many psychological defense mechanisms. I'm not going to name them all. But what are you going to do? Are you going to keep doing that, or are you going to come to your body and transform it and be there for it and be present for it? And if you don't, the last point I want to make is that if you don't learn how to cope and be with your body, it will keep, the necessity for defense mechanisms will still be present, because you haven't shown your body that you can be present for it, take care of it, and cope with the issues of life in a healthy way. And when I say it and the body and all that, understand this is you. You're yourself. I'm using it and stuff so that you guys can understand, especially if because of cultural and religious and upbringing, is that your body is separate from you, but actually it's you. So are you going to be here for yourself, or are you going to keep abandoning yourself to the drugs, to the alcohol, to the sex, to the workaholism, to the safety behaviors if you deal with anxiety, being addicted to new relationships, addicted to overstimulation, video games, porn, whatever, all the endless list of things. You need to learn healthy ways to cope. And, if you have TMS, your TMS will keep going if you don't. And, you may be, if you're new to these concepts and you're asking, well, like, how do I cope? That's a whole other video that I will at some point do. But for now, just start with understanding that there is no transformation outside of this body unless you want to die. If you want to die and never feel pain again, you just have to die. And that's really the only way to escape pain, is you just have to die. But as long as you're on this earth, in this body, you're going to have to learn how to handle and cope with emotional and physical pain. And so you can start by understanding that and just being there for yourself. And you can, next time, tell yourself, there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to go. When your mind is running that program of looking for ways to cover up the pain and defend you because it thinks that you can't handle it, you can be there for yourself and say, I can handle this. I'm here with myself. I'm not leaving you. Talk to yourself like that. I'm not leaving you. I'm here. Yes. Oh, it hurts so bad. Oof, I'm so stressed out right now. Oof, my lower back is killing me. Sciatica, headache. I got this massive headache. But I'm here. I'm here. I'm not leaving. I'm here. And you learn with ways to deal with that emotion by feeling it completely and addressing it powerfully, which is another video. But I hope you guys love this video. Leave a comment if you benefited from it. And yeah.